Rebecca.
Hi, Harley. You alright?
I am.
Sorry.
Welcome back to the Sunday and Salt podcast, where we sometimes trip over our words.
Oh, yeah.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you? How was your week?
It was good. I tried a TikTok thing this week.
What did you have?
I've actually had it before, but this week I actually fully tried it. I tried 3 flavours from it, and it's creme cookies.
Oh, that
It's
place.
these like New York style cookies that I think the one I went to is the one in Soho, but the one that I see on TikTok is the Notting Hill one. Just out there seeing if TikTok food is as good as they claim it is.
Was it?
It lacks salt.
Okay, interesting.
And I thought this before, but I picked one up before and kind of had it on the go. Because when I'm shopping in Central, I like to either pick up a Ben's cookie.
I love Ben's cookies.
Ben's cookies.
The white chocolate chip ones. I love Ben's cookies.
So I went there one day, for some reason, maybe I was in that kind of corner, Tottenham Court Road corner, and I got the white chocolate, but theirs is white chocolate miso. Okay. Which
nice.
I think the flavour, my brain was like, yes, like that's going to work. That sounds amazing. Okay. That's what I want. And the taste-wise is good. The flavour pairing is there. But their particular actual cookie dough, which I can now actually testify because I've tried the dark chocolate banana and the milk chocolate, it's the base itself. The dough lacks salt.
Okay.
And yeah.
So the flavour. So what does that mean?
It means that there's just no oomph. There's no seasoning. Like,
okay,
I guess
like
because
the taste is there, but it's not heightened.
You can taste the things that they've added,
yeah.
but as a cookie on its own, the actual base of the cookie dough is not there. So I'm only getting saltiness when I'm getting kind of little pockets of miso, because white chocolate is sweet. There's just no balance.
Okay.
Like there's no balance in the dough, and also I like the way I do my cookies, and my preference of cookie is
your cookies are good.
Flaky salt as well on top.
Yeah.
Like. Either to finish, as they come out of the oven, you can salt them, or you can salt them right before they go in. Just, if you're freezing cookie dough, don't salt them before you freeze them.
Why? Like, does it make a difference?
I don't know, I just wouldn't do that.
Okay, fair enough. I thought there was some, like, technical...
No, in my head, it's just, like, finishing it.
Okay.
As well. Like, it's flaky salt is a finishing salt.
Yeah, well,
I wouldn't do that. Anyway, that's what the gurus be telling me. That's what Molly Baz, she just released a cookie recipe. She salts at the very end. That is what I've always done.
Okay.
That's what it needs. It just needs like a little flaky salt moment, or it just needs some actual more fine sea salt in the dough. And obviously the scale at which they're making these cookies, it's a nice cookie. Ben's cookies are probably better to fulfill my little mid-shopping little something. But the creme ones are big. Like they have got that American style thing going on. So
do you know what though? If I'm being honest,
or New York style, should I say?
The New York style cookie. It's not one of my favorite things to come out of New York. I find it too chunky. It reminds me of like a rock scone. I think that's what it is, and it's just there's the height
of it.
It almost starts to feel a bit cakey to me.
Yeah, it kind of does have that.
Yeah, and I'm not too big on that. I had a couple the last time I went to New York, and I just thought it's cool or whatever, but it's not really flat cookie. Yeah, that's my bag.
That's your bag.
Yeah.
What delicious thing have you tried this week?
Well, it's not something new.
Okay.
I bought something back.
Oh.
The return of the gluten-free banana fritter. Oh gosh. Do you know what? Do you know why it's weird? Because bananas is one of my top. In fact, it's my number 1 hated food product. Raw bananas. I do not like raw bananas at all.
My mum does not like bananas.
Don't like them. But in my gluten-free banana fritter, I love it. In a smoothie, I love it. And I can manage it. A smoothie with peanut butter. It has to have peanut butter.
I love peanut butter.
And if it's on porridge, I can manage it. But yeah, I made my gluten-free banana fritters. I had some bananas left over. I still had some of my gluten-free Free, F-R-E-E-E. flour.
Oh, right.
Yeah, the brand. And I like to add a little touch of almond essence in my banana fritters, and I think that's what just gives it the je ne sais quoi. Like it just balances off that strong banana flavour.
Yeah.
So
you like a banana and nut pairing then? Because if you can only tolerate bananas and smoothies with
I never thought about it like that.
And then you
and
want
almonds.
Like a nut. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the nutty aspect, but yeah, it's got banana, gluten-free flour, a bit of oat milk, because gluten-free flour can get quite dry very quickly. An egg.
In this crisis?
Yeah, one golden yolk egg, and it's worth it every time. Some light brown sugar, vanilla essence or extract that we measure with our hearts, of course. some ground nutmeg, ground cinnamon, and a little bit of baking powder just to give it some.
But when I saw them being made on your story, I don't know, maybe this is a conversation about what we call things, but they look like little pancakes to me.
Yes, because actually somebody asked me, and I had to validate that fritters and pancakes are essentially the same thing. They're both a batter, but fritters traditionally fritters is fruit or something dipped into a batter. Pancake is a batter essentially.
Right. So is there a whole banana in your thing?
No, because I'm not going to have chunks.
So then it's a pancake.
No, I still call it a fritter because...
But you just defined it
do you know,
being dipped.
No, yes, but do you know why? Because when Jamaican people make fritters, they don't put whole chunks of bananas. It's pureed banana into the batter mixture. So that to me is a fritter. That's why I will call it a fritter, but you could call it a pancake.
But that just because they do it, that doesn't...
Yeah, you see all of this that you're doing? I don't give a heck. It's a fritter.
But in appearance, like the thing that you're describing is audio.
Have you seen banana fritters? Like Jamaican banana fritters?
Yeah, but
they look like pancakes.
But what you've described, the recipe you've described, I'm trying to explain to the people that the outcome of this thing is a round fried disc on two sides.
Well, it depends, because if you want it to be heavier, you can make it heavier and you can drop it in and it can be a ball. I just don't like balls. Yeah.
Okay. Because
I didn't give measurements, did I?
I think that I would accept as more of a fritter.
I like, you see, like they look like saltfish fritters. That's not a saltfish pancake. That's a fritter. I don't like to use too much oil. And I like mine to be very round. And if I used more oil, it wouldn't hit the pan in the way that it does and look like a little pancake. But I don't need to use that much oil.
It's not about the oil though. It's about the viscosity of the thing.
Yes, because I like it a certain texture. Some people add more banana and less flour. And as far as I'm concerned, they're grease balls. That's all I'm going to say on that. Right. So what are we talking about today, Holly?
Okay, well, this thing's quite, I mean, not seamlessly, but nicely into the topic of conversation for today, seeing as your fritters are the direct product of Jamaica.
Yeah.
Today we're going to be talking about
or my Jamaican influence.
Whatever. We're going to be talking about food abroad. Okay. Food that we've travelled for, food that we've experienced when we've travelled, and just generally, our experience of food in other countries. So we are both born here. Yeah. In the UK. So just take that with a pinch of salt. When we're talking about going somewhere, it means leaving this barren, cultureless country and travelling to somewhere.
Oh my God, you're trying to get us cancelled already.
Travel somewhere that, you know, has their own specialty cuisines and cultures. And also the kind of places that we go to and that we'll be talking about are, like when we say we're taking a weekend trip, that's typically Europe. I think that's one of the things that I'm most jealous of when my cousins in America say they're taking a weekend trip, and their weekend trip is like Mexico.
Yeah, it's so close. Or they can go to Bahamas.
Yeah, or just generally the US is so broad that you can experience like a whole different kind of temperature and culture and food scene in a completely different area. So that's just a little preface of our background and the kind of stuff we're going to be talking about. So you said, have you watched it or have you not watched it? The Remarkable Places
to Eat.
Yeah, so this is on Netflix, right?
No, it's on the BBC.
Oh, BBC, okay.
Yeah, okay. The Remarkable Places to Eat. I haven't watched it. My colleague actually told me about it because I said that it's on my watch list. Travel list this year is I really want to go to Morocco.
Oh,
and he told me there's an episode of that on the Remarkable Places to Eat about Morocco, and it's a really good episode because they go to local spots and also the really popular ones that tourists would frequent as well. Another show I did watch which I enjoyed, which some people don't like it, is Somebody Feed Phil. Some people don't like Phil because he can be a bit annoying to some people, but he did an episode on Morocco and I really liked how they explored it. They had like a local chef, they went to the spice market. They made it look so beautiful that I really want to go.
Okay, so that's on our watch list of things that we need to watch for particular countries. I think the one that's actually made me, well, two of the shows that have made me quite inquisitive about the food, but the program's not necessarily about them, are An Idiot Abroad. Have you ever watched Idiot Abroad?
I used to watch that all the time. I
never got it at first, and my parents would watch it. And I think actually, because
he's hilarious.
He's hilarious, and his his darkness.
It's dry. His humour is
dry humour. Yeah. But at points, he's experienced different foods in different countries, or he's been involved in. I love it when he goes somewhere and they give him like a traditional welcoming ceremony, and they like feed him all sorts of stuff, and
he's confused.
He's confused. And there's one, I can't remember what country he's in. I want to say Sri Lanka, just from what I'm imagining, and they just kept feeding him. Like the women just kept coming up and feeding him, and he was like, "Thanks," like the last portion kind of thing. But that's a good show to kind of throw yourself into different countries and just kind of get a taste for what that might even look like. Because I think so much of the food that I have in my head and imagined, I've got from TV and movies and traveling around the world or whatever.
Do you know what shows I love as well? Netflix. Chef's Table is one, but then it's like Chef's Table barbecue, and then Netflix Street Food as well.
That's good.
Street Food is a really, really good series. I've not seen
Chef's Table barbecue, I don't think.
Yeah, that one's really, really, really good. Any of like, the Netflix Chef's Table barbecue, Street Food, those ones are they're really immersive, and that's
the
what I
only
like
thing
them.
about Chef's Table though is it doesn't necessarily always link to like it's a travel worthy piece of food, but say for example it's not always reflective of the country or the culture.
It's about the chef
and
that
restaurant
chef in particular. It's about the chef and the macro environment, less so about
and the macro filming.
Yeah, like because they'll talk about like the political, but how that chef kind of got to be in that space based on how the country was formed and progressed, type of thing.
Especially the ones that I think the one that comes to mind is the one that was like all based on the earth. I think it was completely vegan. And it was like, it was almost like one of them looked like moss and rocks. And one of them looked like whatever. That was really interesting. But I like to go and eat the food in the country that is of the country that I'm in. How do you prefer to go to, or do you like to go to countries and then try other cuisines in that country? Like, would you go to Italy to eat Chinese food?
No, if I'm going to that country, I want to eat the food of that country, because for me, generally when I'm traveling for food. The food is central to my trip, so I want to experience as much of that as possible, as much of the local cuisine as possible. I don't really want to do too many of the touristy spots. I want to go with the local.
But some of the touristy spots, or should I say most popular spots, like I think there's a mix of both. So say for example in Italy, just happen to just say that, there's the pizzeria that is the one in Eat, Pray, Love that Julia Roberts, I can't remember her name in the film, goes to. And that was essentially like a local amazing pizzeria. And it's even shown like that in the film. But now it's got this like touristy thing to it because people queue outside of it because of the film and stuff. But I think that doesn't take away from it.
You've lost me already, babe. I'm not like that. You love a queue. Me, I'm not.
Yeah, because but I'm just saying in terms of like, it doesn't lose its like local authenticness just because the tourists have found it.
It doesn't, but for me, maybe it's my ego, don't know. But if there's too many people there, like too many tourists there, my interest starts. You
want to be the Christopher Columbus of
I want to go like
that restaurant.
Really where the locals go. If they go there, do you know what I mean? Then fair enough. But if they've kind of veered away from it and it's pretty much become a tourist spot, then I'm not saying I wouldn't do it. It just wouldn't necessarily be like top of my list, depending on where I'm going. It depends on the kind of trip, the amount of time that I've got. I have done like Brussels, like really touristy before. And there's other places where I've gone with a tourist eye. I said I want to hit these spots. But sometimes I really just want to, I just want to chill and go to like the local spots and get the off the menu type meals. Or
the chalkboard.
The
chalkboard type experiences. There are a few kind of I guess fusions that I'm interested in trying though. I think rumours I've heard about the Chinese food in Jamaica. I've heard about Chinese food in Jamaica that people seem to love it. I can't say I've had an amazing experience. I definitely tried it.
I wouldn't.
But also the Chinese food in Canada.
Okay.
Like there's like little pockets where people say, and I wonder if that's just because of like migration and globalization, that there are authentic communities of those people there that they've like created little things. I would be interested in trying some of those.
Okay, you see, when it comes to countries like Canada and America, I'm more open to globalization, globalization and experience because a lot of those places are quite metropolitan, I think is the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, I guess.
So I'll eat a little bit of everything. Yeah, whereas if I'm going somewhere that is not as diverse, I'm trying to eat what you lot are eating. Yeah, so if there's a high degree of diversity and the good restaurants there are kind of pulling from different places, then that's fine. But if there isn't, and it's probably like a little type of small little Chinese shop there, forget that. I want to go to the...
I guess that as well kind of leans into going to countries and places with culture that are not like metropolitan or cosmopolitan, I guess is fine.
I think it's metropolitan because I was Googling this the other day.
But some places are a little bit too man-made. Some cities are a little bit too...
Dubai.
Dubai. I mean, yeah, Dubai. I've not been to Dubai,
Yeah.
but I can imagine Dubai being like that. In my
Yeah.
head, I was actually thinking like places like Qatar, which is obviously just kind of hasn't just come into existence, but it's just had a complete like tourist overload where I can imagine they built hubs and places around tourism that they probably will have. It will almost probably be like a food court. Like a Qatari restaurant, a French restaurant, and that's going to live on past the World Cup. Do you know what I mean? But it's going to live on in that very much forced tourist.
Well, you'd hope so.
Tourist aspect.
The World Cup, no, it's the Olympics that has a history of
just coming in and
killing economies.
Right. Brazil.
But no, Dubai. It's definitely that kind of. Dubai feels very manufactured.
That's on your list, right? So let's get into some of the food we've travelled for.
So I didn't travel for food to Dubai. Actually, the last 2 times I went to Dubai, one was for a birthday, one was for like a Hindi. So food was not the center focus.
Okay.
And when I went for my friend's birthday, I just needed a holiday. And I know Dubai is the kind of place where you can get a little bit of everything, and you don't have to do too much pre-planning because there's just so much to do. But the food in Dubai, from my experience, it depends on how you do Dubai. There's a lot of like pool clubs, brunches, social places.
Yeah.
And they do a lot of what I call nibbles.
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't like nibbles.
Right.
Nibbles is things like Costco food that you throw in a bit of chips.
Picky bits.
Yeah, picky bits. Yeah, and so the second time I went to Dubai, for the first few days, I found myself, because of the venues we were going to, having a lot of nibbles. And I said, I can't do this.
Small plates is fine, but like...
No, small plates is different.
Yeah, that's different.
Nibbles and like party food type feel, I don't like that.
Bar snacks.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. There's a wide range of restaurants there, and I think from the second time versus the first time, I felt like there was just more options in terms of restaurants and like good quality restaurants. I think a lot of people, like chefs and chefs and people, restaurateurs are opening spots in Dubai outside of the Palm.
Right,
because there's a lot of things that are connected to hotels, but not necessarily restaurants for people to explore. Correct me if I'm wrong, anyone that lives in Dubai, because I've only been there twice on holiday.
Yeah.
But the last time I went, I'd probably say I had a better eating experience.
Right. But was that by design? You knew from the first time that you were a bit too chill, so the second time you made a bit more of a
actually, it was because after 3 days of picky bits, I said, I'm not doing this.
Okay,
yeah, after 3 days of nibbles, I remember we were by the pool and I just shouted, nibbles again? I can't do it. I said, I cannot have nibbles. I can't come to Dubai to have nibbles. It's not making sense. It might not be the best place in the world to have food. Because Dubai is quite manufactured. So it does lack that feel of like authenticity in terms of culture. I think you have to go to old Dubai to like the spice souk. But I can share with y'all a couple of places.
Go on, hit me with Dubai recommendations.
That I went to.
I haven't been. I'm looking forward to go. I think I do have a little bit of hesitation around the kind of man-madeness of it. Yeah. And the lack of culture. But I mean, if you know what it is before you go, I think you're like fine with that. If I know, cool, I just need to go there with a list of places that I need to eat in, or else I'm going to be eating fries by the pool.
It's a big resort. That's how I see Dubai. Yeah, it's a big resort. So the last time I went, somebody actually shared it, and then I thought I'd check it out. It was called Aprons and Hammers. It's a seafood restaurant. They do like crab boils, lobster, that kind of stuff. So I've actually got a YouTube video where I shared the places I went to in Dubai, but I had like a pot. It was like a seafood boil type pot, and you can have all these different sauces. It was nice overall. The seafood tasted fresh that I had. It's like a chain, so there's a couple different locations. The sauce itself, I didn't quite love. I thought it was chatting shit. Is it?
Hang on, anxiety round. Good. Nope.
Yeah.
Good.
But Aprons and Hammers. If you're into seafood boils, that kind of thing, you can check it out. The portions are insane. I will say that.
Is that Dubai as a whole or that particular place?
At that particular place, the portions are insane.
Is that a chain? I again haven't been. I've noticed that when people go, I see a lot of American chains existing there. Is that
I think it's a Dubai thing.
Oh, that's just there.
Yeah, I think it's a Dubai thing. You can go there and get like Red Lobster. And you can also get Cheesecake Factory if you go to the mall. I think the Cheesecake Factory and Red Lobster taste different in Dubai. Suppliers, and I think it might be... I think it's just less salt or something.
Oh, really?
You know, in America, it's a madness. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it might. I don't know if there's like regional laws or something, because sometimes there is. It's like McDonald's UK versus US.
Yeah.
But I prefer it in America.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't like to. I say I don't like to go to Dubai. I've been a couple times, but it wasn't top of my list to do those things.
Okay.
I went to Amazon & Co in Dubai as well. I had a good experience. I liked it. I didn't have too much.
So that is also in London?
Sorry, yeah. So there's an Amazon & Co in London, and there's one in Dubai.
How was your experience there?
It was good. I actually really liked it. I had the frog's legs, the famous frog's legs at Amazon & Co, and I loved it.
Have you been to the one in London? Are they comparable? Oh, you haven't?
No, I haven't been because it was one of those like Instagram-y type places. It looks really beautiful. I just couldn't be bothered to go, but since we were in Dubai, it was kind of on the list of places that we could go, and I checked it out, and I thought, why not? We wanted to dress up, really nice decor, beautiful decor. The cocktail I had was really nice, but the frog's legs was the highlight for me because I've never had frog's legs before. I went to the Main Oyster Bar and Grill. I love that. There's actually the Main in London. I did that for my birthday.
Your birthday?
Yeah. And I think I preferred the one in Dubai.
Okay.
It may have been because I went in the middle of the day.
Right.
It was very quiet. I went on my own, and they were everything just felt like super hot, super fresh, and I just felt like they were doing the most for me.
For you specifically?
Yeah, and I think they saw me with like my phone out and the flashlight and stuff, and they thought, oh God, this is going on social media. They didn't know who I was, but I had such a beautiful time there. I had, at the Main, they will serve you like fresh bread with roasted garlic and some beautiful salted butter. I had a whole little mini loaf of bread with a whole it's not a clove, it's a whole, what do you call it? There's a
name of butter.
But like the garlic, when the garlic is whole. It's not a clove, bulb, that's it. A whole bulb of roasted garlic.
I thought you were talking, you know when they give you like, you know when the butter is rounded?
The rounds,
I thought that's what you meant.
No, it was like a disc maybe?
Yeah, of butter, something
but
with butter.
I loved that. I really loved that. And then I also had the most beautiful octopus it was in like a butter sauce, and it had capers, and it was just beautiful.
Assuming, because I've seen Dubai like on the map of the world, and it's like obviously the little palm tree thing, but do they fish those waters? Is this like fresh seafood like from the coast of Dubai? No, because you mentioned seafood 3 times now, so I'm like,
maybe they do.
If the seafood is really good,
maybe, but knowing Dubai as I do, I feel like they've imported it from somewhere and just picked the best.
But then again, they have the best, I guess, position to get the fresh like Chinese market.
Yeah.
So probably. But yeah, all 3 of your recommendations there had a seafood thing going on.
Because I love seafood. Yeah, I love seafood. But that octopus was fantastic. And I also had some oysters. I asked for oysters Rockefeller. That wasn't oysters Rockefeller.
What does that mean?
Oysters Rockefeller, I want to make sure I give you guys the correct. But it's cooked oysters, basically. If you
Fried?
If you've never... No, I'd say... In America, they say broiled, but I'd say it was like grilled. Okay, it goes under a grill. Yeah. And if you never had oysters, or you're worried about having raw oysters and the kind of swallow thing that you're supposed to do, I can't do raw oysters. I don't like it.
I've done it, and I'm never doing it again.
Yeah, I'm not into it. So it says oysters Rockefeller consists of oysters on the half shell that have been topped with a rich sauce of butter, parsley, and other green herbs and breaded crumbs, then baked or broiled. Lemon wedges are the typical garnish. So I love oysters Rockefeller. It's just especially when they're fresh, and like the actual oyster meat is almost like buttery soft, and then you've got the flavor of, you can't go wrong with like garlic and herb. Do you know what I mean?
Is there anything, have you experienced that here, or is it something that you've only really had abroad?
Why do I feel like I had oysters recently? Yes, I had oysters at Hawksmoor recently. I went out to Hawksmoor recently. Yeah, I had a little girly link up. Their oysters were...
But Rockefeller?
Was it Rockefeller? Is that what they say on there? It came with a bit of bone marrow on top. But it was pretty much like a Rockefeller style, if I'm being honest. They cooked oysters. The whole thing with bone marrow, I couldn't taste it, if I'm being honest. I feel like bone marrow is really about texture and the kind of psychological belief of like you're eating bone marrow.
I stay away from it because it's typically beef.
Yeah.
I have had it a couple of times actually. One time I had it, I think that's how the jollof comes with it at Ikoyi.
Oh, with a bit of bone marrow.
With bone marrow, like on the side kind of thing. I think it's that dish, but I definitely had it there, but I tried it. But yeah, I can't imagine how that would pair with an oyster.
Overall, the oyster itself was nice. I can't say that I got the bone marrow out of it because
Right.
the garlic and herb is quite strong, and I think bone marrow is a very subtle flavour.
Okay.
If you just scooped a little bit out, the texture is very nice, but I mean, if you're into that, but bone marrow didn't really do too much for me. So yeah, back to the main. I had the oysters, Rockefeller, and I had this plate of like grilled Brussels sprouts. Oh, fantastic. It was so beautiful. I loved it. And I think I've said this before, cruciferous vegetables.
You love vegetables. You
I
actually
do.
love vegetables.
Yeah, I love vegetables. So I had a plate full of Brussels sprouts, which I can't remember what was quite on it, but it definitely had some kind of like butter again.
Yes.
But it was beautiful. It was a really nice experience. And I had this amazing cocktail.
All good things come in butter.
Yeah, I had this lovely cocktail. It had like coconut notes in it. It was a rum-based cocktail. I think it was a tiki cocktail. Really, really nice. I had a good time at the main. I went there solo. The girls were tired. It was a 12 o'clock booking. And I just said, you know what, I'm going to go. It was a quick walk.
12 midnight.
No, 12 midday.
Oh.
I went for like, because after 3 days of doing nibbles, we were only there for 7 days. So I had to start scheduling.
In the
I had to
meals.
start scheduling the meals. So I did a lunch there and it was really nice, really good service, beautiful.
Okay.
I shared a couple pictures on my Instagram and there's a video on my YouTube so you can see what I ate of all these things that I'm sharing.
Okay, so you haven't put me off Dubai. You haven't sold me Dubai because it sounds like a lot.
I wouldn't sell it. I would never
It sounds
sell
like a lot of effort to have a really good time.
There's a lot to do, so you have to be Dubai is the kind of place, if you want to get more out of it than just the typical things that people do, you really have to be intentional, do your research, etc. And that's what I would say, because if you just go to Dubai to experience what everyone else experiences, it's not my favorite place.
Okay.
Yeah, so I would never sell it.
My favorite place I have ever eaten that I love and that I will talk about to anybody that will listen is New Orleans.
Oh, okay.
Nolan's.
That's on my list.
Nolan's, baby.
Yeah.
That was, and I did a solo trip there technically. Yeah. I went there by myself. I was there for a week, but it aligned with, I think it was like Memorial Day in the States.
Okay.
So one of my friends that lives in LA managed to fly out for 2 nights. So of the 7 nights, I had company for 2. And honestly, when you're ready, I'm ready.
Yeah, it's been on my list for time.
When you're ready, I'm ready. I came back. I think I did a vlog. My parents watched it. They were so sold by my experience and the way I was talking about it. They were there within 6 months.
Really, and they loved it.
Loved it. Like they're gagging for it. Even if the rest of them were going, they'd be like, "Oh, that's great. We'll come because then we can the way the way we'll eat. We want to try lots of things."
Yeah.
I think that is nice as well. Like being a single person, so things that I didn't manage to experience properly being on my own were like a seafood boil because. Well, not properly.
Is that when they spread it on the table?
Yeah, but it's served stew in most places, and I was very cautious because I know how America be. Yeah. That here I might take on a serve stew. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
in London, I might take
America,
on a serve
that's a serve 6.
In America, I'm not taking a serve stew, and it was priced serve stew-ish. So I was like, I can't really justify this, and I'm not going to take home prawns and lobster claws and whatever. So that I didn't get to experience, but I've only heard good things. The things that I will...
Oh my God, you're out of breath. Oh my God, Harley. Oh.
Right. Po' boys.
Yeah.
Which are essentially...
Shrimp po' boy.
A shrimp po' boy.
Yeah.
Which is essentially a sandwich. It's like a sub kind of thing in design. I'm going to assume it's a particular type of bread because they were all very similar. And it's so simple. Like it's lettuce base, a pickle usually, buttered. Well, I think you can have mayo in them as well. But whatever it is what you want it to be. But the place in particular that I would actually recommend is called Johnny's Po' Boys. And there were 2 places I went to that were amazing. This Johnny's Po' Boys, I wasn't out of breath afterwards. I fell asleep.
Really?
Because again, I ordered it as a single person thinking it's a sandwich.
Yeah.
This thing was like a foot long.
Serious?
This thing was a foot long.
Because in London, they always serve it, but it's quite small.
So what you get, I'm pretty sure it is a foot long. They don't advertise it as if it's that big. So they have it as if like po' boy and then they have like half.
Oh,
but
okay.
Because it's like you made that sound regular and then you've made the other one sound small.
Okay.
So I just ordered regular one. Realistically, even the fact that they cut it into 2 and then wrap it for you kind of thing in a paper bag. But anyway, so I had the shrimp po' boy there, which is just like the most delicious, freshest shrimp in like a crispy batter in this sandwich. It sounds so simple. It sounds so easy. Also with a little bit of hot sauce. Louisiana hot sauce. Hot sauce in the South, SOUF, South, is where it's at.
It's better than Bajan hot sauce.
It's different.
Okay.
It's different. Bajan is my favorite Caribbean hot sauce profile. I find that Jamaican hot sauce is just very Scotch bonnety, which is fine. But I like pickle tastes. I like quite vinegary type stuff. I find
Bajan to be a bit sweeter. But anyway, New Orleans, because that's
New Orleans. That's where we at. That's where we at. The hot sauce and in hot sauce that I was having in New Orleans either was so hot that they had that kind of Tabasco nozzle where you literally like one little drips, one little drip inside your po' boy or on the plate and then dip it. But after that po' boy, there's a point in the vlog where I eat that and then it just cuts out. I wake up the next day.
Because you were knocked out.
KO'd. Incredible food. There's another place I'll put the link to in the description of where I went as well. That was really good. I just remember it being really, really out of the way. But Johnny's is right in the French Quarter. So you do have to queue a little. But it's not that kind of queue. Like, you're not queuing for anything in particular. It's like you're in a queue.
Do they take bookings?
No, because it's not that kind of... It's not a restaurant. Like, po' boys don't come at restaurants. They come at bars. They come at dives. They come at holes in the walls.
I'ma still eat it. I'ma eat it, but I'ma eat it. Yeah, the queuing thing, it's not me still.
And again, this kind of is a crossover between, is it that busy because it's become a tourist spot, or is it that busy because it's like the locals? And it's literally like the person in front of you is a construction worker across the road. This is just what you eat for lunch. Like, this is the nature of, like, that's the sandwich, it's a Subway, it's whatever kind of thing. Incredible. 10 out of 10, 11 out of 10 even. Peche Seafood Grill, which is also in New Orleans. I remember.
Well, where else would it be? Isn't that where we're at?
Wow, he's definitely gonna do me. Anyway, something that I had there was it's still. I don't remember it well enough. I just remember how I felt. But it was just simple on the menu in the kind of small plates bits where the olives aren't. It just had fried bread, and I was like,
"Oh, okay,
sounds like a bit of me." Like,
fried bread. You like fried bread?
That's what it said. It said fried bread. So in my head, I was like, let's give it a go.
Yeah.
What came to the table was basically like perfectly round little like puff puff.
Really?
Like it was like fried dough rather, because in my head I thought it would be like slice, like fried slice.
Yeah.
You know,
like when you get English
breakfast. I thought fried slice, but it wasn't. It was a little bowl of golden brown balls of joy. They were incredible. And they came with like a butter. So I think what we were doing was kind of like tearing them over. They were hot, but not like fresh fried, but they were warm.
Like dough balls? They were dough balls?
No.
Okay.
They were not like dough balls. They didn't have that kind of texture. This is so hard to describe. And they were salty. They were incredible.
Okay.
They were gluten bombs.
Really?
10 out of 10 gluten bombs.
I see.
I've tried looking for them afterwards. I was like, how could I make these things? I'm not a big fan of frying at home. Like, if I'm cooking, I don't really like to deep fry. Sorry, they were definitely deep fried. Were they bent? No, that's
okay.
Next. That's next though.
Okay.
That's next. That's next though.
Okay.
But Peche Seafood Grill, Peche Seafood Grill. Really good cocktails as well. The picture I'm looking at on my phone is a cocktail with a rosemary sprig sticking out of it that I definitely remember.
God, do you know a cocktail with a rosemary sprig? It gets up my skin. I don't like it.
Why?
I just think rosemary. I don't know. I'm not a big rosemary person in terms of herbs and stuff.
Really?
But we said we'll talk about that another day.
We'll talk about that another day. But I love me a I don't know what the correct name of it is, but when they kind of like flambe it a bit, like when it's torched.
Okay, yeah, scorched maybe.
Yeah, torched or scorched. That on top. New Orleans, just in case we forgot where we were. Malacca. Number 3 is Café du Monde, which again, like,
I feel like I saw that on
famous.
I think I saw it on Netflix.
It's been in every documentary, Idiot Abroad. Whoever has been there, they go there. They have a few branches, so it's technically a chain now.
Okay.
But if you go to the original site, and the original site is literally right by the river.
Okay, it's got 4 stars on TripAdvisor.
Okay.
How
many reviews though?
It's a lot.
Thank you.
39,000.
39,000.
Yeah, 39,000.
But the original spot is the biggest spot that they have. So, it has like an outdoor seating area, indoor seating area, and then it also has like a kind of side where you can just queue for takeaway.
Okay.
And this is for beignets.
That's how you say it.
Yeah, beignets.
Beignets. Okay.
I've
been saying beignets.
Yeah, but they are ultimately they're a French product, and that's what's great I think about New Orleans as well. New Orleans is that they have the French influence
Yeah.
from colonization.
Yeah.
But some of the things that have remained, like in terms of the architecture, the culture, even the religious side of things, like it's very much a split between beautiful Catholic churches, like one of the most beautiful Catholic churches I've ever been into when we visited there. And then the other half of the kind of cultural identity is like spirituality.
Yeah.
Like they're very much into their readings, and you see the tarot places,
Hoodoo.
the voodoo dolls and all that kind
Yeah.
of stuff. Like it's like living side by
That's
side,
the
coexisting.
position.
Yeah, but it's like
Yeah.
coexisting peacefully.
Yeah, I guess that's the same thing you have in like places like Cuba, and in Latin America.
Yeah, because of the, like, I guess how different cultures and colonizers
Yeah.
have come in and left certain things behind. But the beignets is one of the things that the French obviously left behind, because you can get good beignets in France. I saw them in
Yeah.
Paris when I went recently. But those ones right there,
Yeah.
because the popularity of the place, it means the turnover is like,
Yeah.
and I think we discussed this in one of our previous episodes when we watched like the Krispy Kremes be made.
Yeah. You can see it
You
there.
can see it there,
Okay.
literally, and they wear navy. What's that kind of like bottle green, like a deep green, just like covered in powdered sugar. That like deep green that's ended up covered
Sounds
in
like
powdered
the
sugar.
little home pride thing. You know, the logo.
The little
the
logo with the bowler hat guy.
Yeah.
It is an experience. You just get a bag of these powdered sugar, freshly fried little donuts, and just
Yeah.
sit on a wall and just enjoy them.
Lovely.
Cannot recommend New Orleans enough.
Okay.
Honestly, such an incredible hub, and they also have such a culture around drinks too. So when my parents went, my dad came back a whiskey man. Because the South, the
Yeah.
SOUF, have obviously a massive heritage with whiskies, bourbons, but the thing that my dad came back loving was Sazerac.
Oh, you said he likes that.
So Sazerac as a drink, as a cocktail, is literally a Sazerac, but it's made specifically with Sazerac rye bourbon, or Sazerac itself is the type of,
Okay.
is the name and the type and the name of the cocktail are all the same thing. So you can't make Sazerac with anything other than that particular brand, the Sazerac drink. And yeah, he loved that. I had all kinds of rosemary sprigged cocktails, but if
Okay.
you ever get to go.
Portugal I've been to a couple of times. I actually
Okay.
went to Lisbon, I think probably when I was 16. My older cousin took me and a couple of my younger cousins. Well, I'm not the youngest, but her younger cousin, she took three of us to Portugal, and we loved it. I was in frango, like the grilled chicken.
I've never been.
Oh, so they call frango, I believe, is what they call like the grilled chicken.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the word for chicken. I think it's the particular kind of chicken.
There's a place in Shoreditch called Frango.
Called frango, yeah. And it's very much like Nando's.
Yeah.
Kind of it's the kind of dish that you can see the Portuguese influence in like South Africa and that
Right,
part where
okay.
they have, because I think Nando's is actually South African.
Founded,
Yeah.
but of a Portuguese.
Portuguese influence.
Profile,
Yeah.
yeah.
So they had a lot of there was a shop, and please do not ask me where it was because this is when I was like 16. But I remember going to this shop and it was just a grilled chicken shop, but it was like a local man. They had a big grill, they had a counter, and you just bought a bag of grilled chicken, and it was fantastic. So I came back obsessed with Portugal because of the frango and the sangria. I was I'd never had sangria before then. I was obsessed at 16. I was like, this is amazing. And then we went out to a club. I don't know what the age. I don't know what the age was, but my cousin got us in and we danced Kizomba, and I was obsessed. I was just obsessed with Portugal and Portuguese culture. And you've got a lot of, I'd probably say, Central, almost West African countries that have got big Portuguese influence, like Angola. So there's a lot of Angolans in like Lisbon. So you've got big Kizomba culture, and it was just fantastic. I was in my element. So I went back for my 18th with two of my cousins, and we basically did it again. One thing about me that I want to kind of adjust or evolve moving forward is I know how to rinse something.
Okay.
So when I really sit down and think about some of the places that I've travelled, I can talk about one place because I've probably done it 4 times.
Right.
In terms of variety, it's not quite there. There's places I have intentions of going to and I need to action that rather than going to America and going to New York all the time. Do you know what I mean?
Something else.
Yeah,
Orleans.
somewhere else. But yeah, Portugal was obsessed. So I've been a couple of times. Last year I went to Tavira with my mum. Tavira's in the Algarve and it's a fishing town.
Oh, okay.
Essentially, and we did it for 4 days. It was very quiet. There isn't much to do there. People tend to pass through, when they're driving along the Algarve for fresh seafood and stuff. But it was fantastic. It was fantastic. If I could do Tavira again, I would do it. But I've said to myself, I've done it. My mum said, no, try somebody else. Try somebody else. Yeah, like it's enough now. You've done it. But
from your Instagram, maybe you're about to talk about this. I remember eating a lot of olives there.
I had olives every
day.
Fresh bread and sangria. We were tipsy in the middle of the day one too many times. Like it was just, everything was just so fresh. It was just so beautiful. So the first day we got there, we just went down to the centre because it's very small and the town centre you can walk to. We went to this restaurant called No de Gusto. I think that's how you would say it. And my mum had this oxtail. It's like, I think it's like a restaurant where the menu changes. It's very seasonal. They had oxtail.
Good chalkboard restaurant.
Yeah. Oxtail with like these mashed potatoes. And I've actually got a highlight on my Instagram because I loved that little trip so much.
Yeah.
The oxtail was falling off the bone. Like it was just beautiful. It was fantastic. God. I don't even remember what I had in that restaurant. I had a traditional Taviran dish or Portuguese dish, and it's like made with bread. It's like almost like a savoury bread pudding.
Okay.
It's a savoury bread pudding. It was really, really nice. But that oxtail was fantastic. I loved that. We went to a restaurant called Galeo restaurant. Tavira sits along a river. It's the Galeo River.
Oh,
I could be mispronouncing this. But it's...
I can't correct you, so keep going. I don't know.
Galeo. I don't quite have the accent down, but it sits along a river. So there was like a riverside restaurant that we went to. We had this like kiwi white wine sangria, fantastic. And I had saltfish. So, you know, in Portugal, saltfish is, salted like is cod. Bacalhau, they call it.
Yes.
And it was like cooked in like this peppery sauce. It came with potatoes.
Chunky.
It was like a chunk of it, and it was almost
cod.
like it was confit. It was beautiful. It was fantastic. I keep saying fantastic. It was so nice. I loved it. Of course, with olives to start and bread. But I loved, for me, saltfish is ackee and saltfish fritters, saltfish and cabbage. So
different way.
I love when I go to Portugal and saltfish is such a big thing there and I experience it in a different way. Loved that. And then my last one. Oh gosh, there was a couple. So we went to a place called Santa Luzia. It's like a village just outside of Tavira, but it's still along the Algarve. And it's a fishing village in the eastern Algarve, but it's an octopus town.
Oh.
Octopus is really big in like Tavira and that part of the Algarve. There's oranges, olives, octopus is really big and a couple of other things. So we went there to a restaurant called Capello Restaurant. I don't think I even had octopus that day.
What the hell?
It was late and I don't remember what happened, but I ended up having like a bowl full of I think it was cockles. It was like really small. Yeah, beautiful. It was like olive oil. The olive oil was so beautiful.
There's something missing in this, like your rotation of ingredients.
It's because I said olives, I think there, but like the olive oil, they had like cooked it in olive oil, fresh herbs, and maybe garlic. It was just the simplicity. When it comes to that simplicity,
simplicity, rinsing stuff.
It gets me going. It was just like you could just taste the very key ingredients. Everything was heightened. It was like it was on crack or something. I don't know. It was just beautiful. And then my mum had like a whole fish. They came to the table, deboned it for her, and she loved all of that. And one thing I loved from there was like this pumpkin jam that was served with the bread. I actually bought some and brought it home. It's like a pumpkin jam with like a white cheese. And I'm sure we had some other bits and bobs, more sangria, of course. But Tavira in Portugal is not a very popular place. People don't really stay for long. They pass through. But if you're looking for a very chilled experience that is fully focused on food, I would go to Tavira. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It's fantastic. Oh, I loved it. I really loved it. Yeah.
I would say if you are in London and need a little flavour of Portugal, not that I've been there, but it's a Portuguese restaurant. It's called Capriccio. It's the one that I go to a lot in Barkingside.
Okay.
It's like right by Farlock Roundabout, but the Portuguese food there is amazing. And my hairdresser is actually Portuguese speaker. She's Angolan. Portuguese.
And she likes it?
Yes.
Okay, cool. That's what I like.
Co-signed.
Yeah.
But I was going there first.
Yeah.
And then, I say first, she probably
I was going there first.
I was going there first. But I was going there.
Yeah.
And then one day she mentioned it and I was like, you know? And she was like, what do you mean? You know?
Yeah.
And I was like,
Spell it for us, Sonny.
CAPRICHO Barkingside.
Okay, Capriccio.
I
think we got to go there for our next little link up.
We have to book.
I want to try it.
We have to book.
It looks good. It's given. They love potatoes in Sevilla as well.
The things that I love there are the octopus, the grilled octopus that they do there. The salted cod as well. They do like a 5-fish skewer, so you get like prawn, octopus, cod. I think it's salmon and swordfish.
Is that nice? Because I really hate those skewer things. Is it good?
It's good.
Okay.
Like my dad always goes for that. My mum usually goes for. They have like these
looks good.
gambas picante kind of things.
Like pepper prawns.
Yeah, but they have like the whole peppercorns in them. The lamb shanks there are really good. Honestly, everything there is really good.
Okay.
They know us by name. Let's just put it that way. So,
Barkingside. I'm adding this to my list. You'll probably see me there next week.
Without me. Without me.
Well,
how could you?
You know, might go on a date. You never know.
God. Anyway, my final trip then is to Paris.
Okay, Paris.
Which I think, I don't know if I spoke about this on the podcast, but I went to Paris last summer, and before going on that trip, I had decided already that I hated Paris.
I remember because I said how much I love Paris.
Yeah. And I had already decided I hated Paris. I ended up there. Don't ask me why I booked Paris, but knowing that I hated Paris. But I also went there with one of my closest friends who also decided that she hates Paris. And we got there and we were like, this is really nice.
Paris is a vibe.
We were like, this is really nice.
But it's how you do Paris, I think.
So I decided I hated Paris because I went, I think, too young.
Yeah.
I think I went at about 13 or 14 and I didn't
family?
like it. Well, we did the Disneyland thing and then we did like Paris. I was with my auntie and I decided I hated Paris. And I think as well, maybe because I was so young, before I left the house, my mum and dad were definitely like, it's dirty and you're going to get mugged and and there's pigeons and don't stand on the Eiffel Tower because you're going to get mugged. Like that kind of messaging. And I got there and I was like, oh yeah. Like, ew. But I think my travel experience and life experience now have shown me that you could get mugged and it's dirty anywhere and everywhere. And some of those places, like the subways of New York, I love. So it is what it is. So going there as an adult was needed. Going there in the summer was also needed. Having beautiful blue skies and just even I can imagine now that I've changed my mindset about it, I could bundle up and go for a coffee or whatever. But I absolutely loved that experience. The standout places that we were only there for 3 days. So for 3 days to have flipped my mind and I've had enough experiences within those 3 days to actually talk about is just showing you how different your experience can be when you are an adult and have a bit more money. And don't go in expecting for it to be dirty and get mugged. Yeah. You know? Okay. Even though I went there expecting to hate it. So the first meal that we actually had there, it was incredible. It was at La Jacobine. So it's spelled Jacobine. Jacobine.
Okay.
And basically I pretty much curated the trip to Paris, all the meals from, there's a YouTube channel called Top Jaw.
Yes, I remember them.
They've been to Paris, I think, 3 times, but they had a particular video which was like 48 hours in Paris.
Yeah.
And he was pretty much like, if you only got 48 hours, you have to go here. So I tried to incorporate some of those places and obviously watch their experiences. And La Jacobine was literally, it was so good. So I had basically like the roasted lamb shank and it came with some new potatoes and some vegetables, as you can see.
It looks lovely, I'll be honest.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And I'm always a bit hesitant when I order like lamb shank because I know that you didn't just cook it. Like I know you have to have roasted it for hours and hours and hours and hours. And because this was lunchtime, I was like, it's gonna be. They've only just opened.
Fresh, yeah.
It's gonna be fresh. So honestly, so good. And Sam got some kind of, I can't remember the name of it now, but it's some kind of salad. It has a pate on it and all sorts of stuff. So we had very different experiences.
Was that nice? Did she
we were both sitting there going, this is great. This is great.
Good.
This is great.
Because pate is not really my bag.
This is great. But like and it's
if you
it's
like
a quaint
pate,
little place on like a little alleyway.
Yeah.
I don't think you could have booked, but it was one of those places where they were like 20 minutes, take your number. So we went to a bar and came back like at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
But it was so lovely. Honestly, the quality of the food there, the service as well. There's a little kind of, I don't know, they probably have a French name for it, but this kind of sideboard area where they cut the bread. And the speed at which this guy chops the baguette, and he just chops the whole baguette into the little baskets, then he whisks around in between the tiny tables and just like throws a basket of fresh bread and everyone and just sat down at the table, and it's like, oh, I'm in like a French romantic movie and just getting thrown fresh bread and whatever. But it was so lovely. The next place I would say, which was the complete opposite of that, which was not quaint, family-run squash table at all, and it was called Terra, Terra. So I think post-pandemic there were two on the same street. One was Terra Bar Avant, bar and wine.
Wine, yeah.
And
VIN, yeah.
VIN,
Wine,
yeah. And the other was just Terra.
Okay.
So I think only Terra Bar Avant now exists. I think the other Terra is gone, but it's still physically there. So if you go there and you see it, you're just at the wrong one. Walk down the road further and there's another one. And this was like small plates.
Okay.
Fancy. Jus.
Yeah.
Squeezy bottled things. Incredible. The only thing I didn't like about the food there, so we had like a duck dish, we had burrata, we had an aubergine.
Burrata is not for me, boy.
We had all these things. The only thing I don't like is that, and it was an open kitchen, so it's a horseshoe counter basically. So the kitchen is in the middle and the bar is on one end of it. So we were sitting kind of more in the wine bar, like visibly looking at the wine bar bit, but they were the chefs were literally there, and it's just two chefs in the kitchen. However, they obviously have another kitchen going on, because all of the dishes that we were watching being served off of this pass, so they finished everything there.
Yeah.
But at one point, like, I think the duck breasts came from a different kitchen kind of thing and then got finished and garnished and then served from there. But all the cold plates and stuff were being made completely in front of us and everything. So good, but very staggered.
Okay.
Like,
so it's ready when it's ready.
Yeah.
Isn't this what I said before?
Yeah.
And I feel like you were trying to, what are you talking about? That when it's ready thing, it messes up my meal.
I think it messed up. It messed up our meal because we were hungry. But I think because I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't really know that. When he said, I guess, because I've decided to go to places where the small plates come in the way I want them to come. Yeah. When I go to a place that they don't, it just throws me a little bit.
Okay.
It just throws me a little bit because I don't think small plates needs to be synonymous with ready when it's ready. I don't think those are two things that have to go hand in hand, but I think people are just deciding to do that. Because there was entertainment in terms of watching them do stuff, it bothered me less. But it did end up that kind of thing where you end up with like 2 carbs.
Yeah.
Like your meats are finished and you're waiting for the 2 carbs.
Yeah.
And there was a point when I was kind of wondering as well, like, are they waiting for us to finish these before they bring the others? Because this is taking a while. Because we held back because we were like, oh, we want this with the duck. We want this with the whatever.
Oh, that's just... But it tasted good.
Everything looked amazing, tasted amazing. The drinks were great. It was honestly incredible. The location was very central, super lovely little area. It was summertime, so it had like the front doors were open onto the street. Loved it.
Okay.
Third and final place, which I also took from the Top Drawer video, is the French Bastards.
Okay. I haven't.
Or the French Bastard, I think it's called. And it's a bakery.
Okay.
And
bakery.
It was
probably want to see me, boy.
gluten.
Yeah. I say that, but I probably would have tried it anyway.
Yeah. But the thing that was amazing there was everything. You can see through into the back kitchen. It has a story. I think the guy is actually not French.
Yeah.
No, sorry, he is French. And what happened was he went to study culinary school in America, and they were calling him the French Bastard.
Oh, okay, okay.
I think that's how the name of him calling his bakery chain. I say chain, I think there's 2 or 3 where they're all in Paris. Everything is just amazing and fresh and fantastic. And a bonus point, which is kind of hard to find in Paris, we found, was oat milk.
Oh, okay.
I think Europe as a whole, like, because they're so cheesy and in all fairness, it's fresh. 100%, the milk there is probably great. I just can't drink milk. Sorry. And I think the thing that they've been leading in for a long time is soy milk. So it was very easy to find soy milk places. The dairy-free alternative is usually soy, but I can't drink soy milk all the time. Like, I find it a little bit upsetting to my stomach to just drink soy milk. So they have oat milk there, and they have a lovely range of hot drinks, and they also have like a pastry counter, so say like tarts and chocolate things and all sorts, but just get the croissant.
Yeah, it's good.
Yes.
Okay.
Just tear it off in your mouth and just walk down the street enjoying it. And that's what I really love about Paris and New Orleans and other places too, but those 2 in particular, is that everyone who is from there knows this is where it's at.
Okay.
Like,
well, the confidence of the
yeah,
people.
the confidence of the people, especially around their food. Like the French just being like, I'm taking a 2-hour lunch break because the food deserves it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to go drink a bottle of red wine because we have the best.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to go and queue. Or I'm a construction worker and I'm going to go queue for a po' boy at lunchtime because why not? Like, this is my city and this is my food. I absolutely love the energy about those two places so much.
Yeah.
Which Dubai may not have for me.
The thing is, I'm not an advocate for Dubai.
Yeah,
I wouldn't recommend Dubai for food. And that's why I said you can go there and find places, maybe more so now, because I think when Dubai was first kind of coming up, they seeked a lot of outside popular places to draw people in, whereas people are now trying to create more of a culture and a scene in Dubai that is outside of like partying. It's like an actual cultural spot that you can go there and have a wholesome experience.
One thing I see a lot of people having in Dubai, which I've never had in Dubai, I haven't been to Dubai, but I've had in New York, is Miss Lily's, which is the Jamaican...
Yeah, again, the Miss Lily's that I had in New York, I thought was better than the one in Dubai.
That's the original?
Yeah.
The one in Soho is the original. I think there's 2 in New York now. But
I've been to the one in Soho.
Yeah.
And Miss Lily's is a vibe. So again, not New York, Dubai's built around having a good time.
Right.
So for me, I feel like the food is always secondary, and that's kind of how how
they've designed it.
Yeah. So Miss Lily's is a vibe. Don't get me wrong, but I wouldn't necessarily say the food was that great. No. There's a better Jamaican restaurant that people say in Dubai. Ting Irie. That's what people say.
Okay.
Yeah.
I put a question box up on my story to hear from you guys what the best thing you've eaten abroad is. That's the question that I posed to them. Some of these answers are a little bit funny. The first one is very funny. So, Vapiano is in Amsterdam, maybe because I was high.
Yeah, because Vapiano is...
Number one, because
the best
Vapiano
thing you've eaten abroad.
Cannot be anybody's favourite thing I've eaten abroad. But I completely resonate to, like, something in Amsterdam. And to be honest, I could not tell you. Everything in Amsterdam is great because it's Amsterdam and the circumstances in which you're eating it are leaning towards everything tasting good. Interesting one here, Indian curry when I was in Japan. I know it sounds strange, but they have a lot of people from India there and the curry was insane.
Okay.
Again, like a weird kind of collab where they have an authentic like culture of people there. Croatia, stuffed squid with polenta. I'm not a fan of mussels, but this spot had me falling in love with them.
Nice. I've heard Croatia's got good food. And there's fishing towns in Croatia.
Yes.
Where my friend went there recently. She said the fish was insane. Like the seafood was crazy. It literally tasted like they had plucked it out of the water 5 minutes before. She's like, it was crazy. So
I want that.
Definitely on my list.
Another thing here, the wasabi taco, but T-A-K-O, from an izakaya in Japan, which is like a traditional Japanese pub.
Yeah.
Japan sounds like I might need to visit that. And then we had 3 answers about Jamaica. Okay. One of which was fresh sour sap and guava in Jamaica. Saw the man pick it from a tree and juice it.
I love that about Jamaica when you go. Obviously now,
pick stuff off the trees.
When I went when I was younger, my cousins will just pull stuff off trees. Yeah. The last time I went there, my dad said, "Take your time because you don't know whose tree you're pulling off on now." People are a bit more precious. But things just fall. Yeah. And I just love it.
Family land. That my aunt that lives there has, I don't know if she has guava, but she has mango, ackee.
My grandma used to have all of that. She used to have a breadfruit tree out the back.
My breadfruit tree in the middle of the grass, mango tree. Another one for Jamaica was just, it says pretty much everything when I was in Jamaica.
Wow.
And the last one is actually from my best friend, which was fresh lobster out of the sea in Jamaica, not lobster tires.
Wow.
In reference to your comment on the last episode or 2 episodes ago.
I expect nothing less than that from my people.
We were together for that experience, so I can tell you exactly what she's talking about, which is where they've caught the lobster, but they keep them literally in a cage, like still in the water, and it's like a beach shack. So once you ordered it, he will either take you to the cage, like pull it in and take you to it, or he'll just go and get you one.
I love those little spots in Jamaica.
And literally, well, I mean, you get that here because you have to cook lobster from live, pretty much. But the preparation, we were just like, wow, really, that was alive. Now it's in my belly. Like within 20 minutes. It was incredible. So thank you so much for sharing those with us.
Thanks, guys.
We will keep popping up some boxes, pre-recording episodes, and also put polls on the Spotify versions of these episodes. If you're watching us on YouTube, leave a comment below with some of the food that you've experienced. And a rating. Yes, rate us any way you can. Please, please, please. It does help so much with the reach of this podcast.
Exactly.
We are going to go look at flights to New Orleans, apparently.
Honestly, yeah. And next time we do this, I'm not doing to Dubai. I got other spots. Okay. Do you know what I mean? I've got other spots. But yeah, no.
If you're interested in hearing actually more about food that we've travelled for, we have a whole episode, a Pinch of Salt episode on New York, which is where we shared some of our food experiences from both of our trips last year. So that will be linked below, or just search A Pinch of Salt, Sonder and Salt, and it will come up. Thank you so much for listening.
Thanks, guys.
We'll catch you in the next one.